Going live.
Lovely. Good evening, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to just give this 20 seconds or so and hopefully get all the live streaming work going out there into the Facebook atmosphere and try and get everybody viewing. But thank you to everybody for joining us this evening. This is the third Facebook Live we've done here at Guitar Weekends. My name's Natalie. And I won't be on your screens for too long, but I help out Ronnie with all his digital content. Ronnie, give us a wave.
Okie doke, that's me.
Ronnie, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Yeah, so I'm Ronnie McCrory. I own Guitar Weekends, and this is on behalf of Guitar Weekends. I'd just like to say a quick hi to everybody out there. Some people who know us and some people who don't. And do you want me to introduce the course, Natalie, or you?
We're going to come on to that bit, definitely.
Okay.
So we're going to have a quick welcome to Gary as well. Gary, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Gary Dunn. I work for Guitar Weekends as a guitar tutor. Been working for quite a while and mainly do courses like strugglers, intermediate, blues, intro to jazz, that kind of thing.
Quite a while, Gary. It's a much
Yes.
longer than that.
20 something years, yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Gary. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, no problem.
And I can see we've got lots of people starting to watch now. So thank you to everybody for watching. If you are, please give us a thumbs up to say that you can see us okay and hear us okay. But also do pop your name into the comments box and tell us where you're viewing from and who you are. We'd like to say hello. If you have any questions throughout this evening's live stream, again, pop them into the comments. Then I'm going to pick those up, or Ronnie will pick those up throughout. If not, I'll pick them up at the end. But this evening's live stream is all about practicing, how to practice your guitar and get really good at it. I'm hoping that's what you can help answer for me anyway. We're going to say hello to Jeet Sen, who is watching from Dubai. Ooh. So welcome. Yeah. Thank you for joining. We've got about 30 viewers now. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to hand it over to Ronnie and Gary, who are going to talk a little bit more about Guitar Weekends, what Guitar Weekends does, and then they're going to go into a lovely Q&A between Ronnie and Gary, our amazing tutor. Hello, everybody. You're watching. Ronnie's lots of shout-outs for you there. I'm going to jump off and let you guys get to it, and I'll be back to give you a little countdown in 20 minutes or so.
Okay, thanks, Natalie.
Thank you.
Right, Gary, you and me.
Yes. Yeah.
So you've been teaching for a little while, as we found out. You've done residential courses. You've done loads of online courses. Now you do one-on-one private tuition. So in amongst all of that, we picked this subject of practice because it's the beginning of the new year and people want to get better. And actually they probably want, and we all strive for this, a plan of how to get better. What should we be doing? But I know it's horses for courses, but we'll come on to that. So the subject matter in practicing, it's so vast. People might want to learn sweep picking. They might just want to have dexterity in the left hand and strength. They might want to practice their rhythm. But we've chosen bar chords because it's actually one of the biggest things you can learn in terms of a step change in your ability.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why are bar chords so important?
It opens up quite a lot of different songs that you can play. I suppose you can play a lot in the open position, but I just think that you can also change the sound of a chord, you know, say a B chord or something like that, and then another B chord further up the neck. It sounds slightly different, and you've got the different tonal, you know, that kind of thing. You can then sort of improve the variety of songs that you can play.
But Gary, can I ask you a question? Did you ever have a problem playing a bar chord at the beginning?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I did, yeah. I found power chords easier to do at first, you know, when I was a young player. I would learn the power chords and then, you know, do that kind of thing. And then after a while, I had a few misunderstandings about the chords, but I learned this chord, which was an A major. And then I learned this chord here, which somebody had told me was a D minor. And it's not a D minor, as you probably all know that. And so I kind of then came across a few people who said, that's not a D minor, this is a D minor. So you kind of meet other guitar players who you share information with. That was the way I did it. And at first, open chords, I found them a bit of a struggle as well, because I started learning just using single notes, you know. little tunes like that, and found it really difficult to hold two notes down together. So I suppose the way I improved that was to learn the open chords. You know, you get those open chords. Then when you have to learn the first chord, I find that it's really difficult on the guitar. That actually sometimes puts people off learning is F major. And then sometimes people will play, I don't think, you can't see the fretboard on the camera there. See if I can move it. So you play this F chord here. Yeah. With the mini, you know, the half bar at the bottom there. Yeah. And that puts people off a little bit. You know, often I have a pupil at the moment in the school where I work who will only play F major 7. And it's a lovely chord. I love that chord, but it doesn't fit everywhere.
It's a cop-out, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get her to learn the F major. And then you can gradually increase, you know, the scope of the chord a little bit by adding just the third finger here like that. So you haven't got the full bar, but you've got nearly the whole chord. And that might just improve your strength a little bit if you practice that for a little while. And then try and get the full bar over like that, you know. Arch the finger back like that. Yeah, that's the thing to do. Yeah, and it's quite hard to do that. So I found that when I first learned bar chords, I learned this Bob Dylan song called Lay Lady Lay, which has 4 bar chords in, but only 2 shapes. And you would just strum that one, go to the C sharp minor, then G. And then the B minor like that, yeah. So then after you've learned to do it in a simple way, you know, it hurts at first. It's very painful. You know, you get calluses on the fingers and everything. But people shouldn't let that put them off, you know, because after a few weeks that sort of goes, or after a few months sometimes, and sometimes you have to spend a few months on it. I've taught students before who said, I'll never be able to do this. And after about 6 months, they just keep coming to the lessons and they get it, you know. And sometimes it doesn't really matter whether you've, you know, your hands, you have thick fingers or thin fingers. It's all about getting the correct strength and the correct tension.
But hang on, Gary.
It's all about that, yeah.
Yeah, but we've been on courses and people will say, oh, I've got a little bump in this finger. It won't press down. These fingers are too fat. I can't get them all into the fret, etc., etc. There's only 1,001 excuse. But I'm quite interested in everybody who's logged on here. If you just give a quick nod to Natalie, can you play an F major bar chord really cleanly? And that gives Gary and I some idea of who we're talking to out there. So if you could just let us know if you can do an F major bar chord cleanly, that'd be great. But Gary, the other thing we wanted to bring into that, so you're playing this bar chord. How do you define practice?
Oh, right. Practice isn't just playing for pleasure or just playing for fun, even though you should enjoy the feeling of the achievement at the end of it. But it should be a little bit like you're out of the comfort zone, I think. You know, you should be trying something new. And when you practice, it won't always sound great, especially at first. You will struggle a little bit with certain concepts. Some left-hand fingering and some coordination with the left and right hand. Okay. So what you should do is just do everything patiently, slowly and surely, and build up. Get a nice sound as much as you can, you know, just to play one chord. And sometimes I teach people, and when they play the chord, they can't hear all of the notes because they're not pressing all of the notes down with equal pressure. You know, so one thing to do to just check that is to go across the strings one at a time.
Actually, Gary, that's a really good point. A lot of people out there have said, yes, we can play an F major bar chord.
Yeah.
Right. Another question while we're talking, can you play an F7, but we're using your little finger on the B
like
string
that,
as well?
yeah, like
that. Play that cleanly. And as Gary's just said, play each note and have the notes sounding out nicely.
Yeah, that's really difficult. Actually, it is. But you have to be careful with this this joint in the finger here. If that's in between, if that's over the D string on that shape there, it can be quite difficult to get that E flat like that. So that can be really difficult. Yeah, but you just have to practice until it starts to sound right.
So let me give you this scenario then, Gary. If we take it from, say me, I can play all the open chords.
Yeah.
I've just started on the bar chord.
Yeah.
I'm struggling with that F.
Yeah.
I want to play lots of songs with other people. So that's my standard right now. But I want to go to a guitar club and jam along with people. But I haven't forgot my capo.
Yeah.
And I've got to join in. What would be? I want to see how would you get from where I am to where I want to be? Time's not relevant. What would be the plan to get from A to B?
So you can play a few open chords and you're just starting on bar chords. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just add one bar chord at a time, or two at the most. You know, you might have some familiar shapes, like you might know a D minor, a C, and then you might have to play an F, and you might have those three chords. You know. And then you might gradually add the bar chords as you go. You know, you don't have to do all bar chords. It could be just two open chords and one bar chord, which hopefully gets you used to holding down the chord. And then I suppose after that, you would try and learn different shapes. You've got the major shape there. Try and learn the minor. And then move across so that you can learn the root on the fifth string. It might not come as quickly as that. Obviously, well, it didn't with me really, because I had to practice that for quite a while. You know, I can't remember exactly how I've practiced in the past on everything I've ever done, but I do remember trying to learn different techniques. You know, you're using chords nearly all the time. You know, you might be using a G bar chord, and how you play the chord is important as well, isn't it? Really, you know, you're not just going to be happy with that. You might want to learn to play some rhythm, so you have to learn to coordinate between the right and left hand. Just using a few little things in between the chords, yeah?
Just a few little things, yeah.
Little double stops.
Yeah.
So I think I might have meandered there and gone a little bit too far with the question. I don't know. But
you're getting carried away, Gary.
Yeah. Hello, Jen.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
Any questions?
I'm jumping in here because we've had quite a lot of comments, actually, loads of comments and a couple of good questions. So in response to your question about can people play, I don't know if you saw these coming through, Ronnie, but you asked if people could play the F chord. We've got yes, yes, no, yes. Lots of yeses. Some people saying I hope so. On a good day. John said.
Excellent.
Some Gordon says yes, and he also learned Lady Lay all those years ago. Andrew says yes, but sometimes uses the thumb on the bottom E string.
Yeah.
Ashok says he can play the F-shaped bar, but struggles with A-shaped bar chords. Okay, and then so lots of stuff there. Some people saying okay with F7, some people saying not really. And then we've got a question here from David Cutteridge saying, how do you get enough strength in your hand?
Repetition. You just have to play little and often. And if you're learning a new chord or a new sequence of bar chords that seem to be coming slowly, do it little and often, 15 minutes a day, but try and get in every day or at least 5 sessions a week. Treat that as practice and isolate it from your normal practice, you know. Don't just try to do all bar chords and everything. You might already know how to play something like Wonderful Tonight with the open chords and all of that sort of thing. And then gradually add the bar chord in, but you know, you have to keep going back to what you need to practice. You have to isolate the difficulty. That's what you need to do. You know, don't expect it to happen after 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Sometimes it takes a long time, but you have to find a way to enjoy that little struggle. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, I think that's a really good point. It's about remembering why you love something and kind of finding that persistent kind of attitude and commitment to it, isn't it? Because nothing comes overnight. So actually putting that time in is really important.
Yeah.
Somebody says here, can you play an F major bar chord?
Can I play one?
Yeah, I've just played one.
Oh yeah. I mean, you want me to
Yeah.
show you? Like, yeah. See if I can get closer to the camera so you can see the left. Whoops. This is like kind of round the wrong way. Yes, just like that. Like that. Is that okay?
Yeah.
But Gary, while you're there, just as some more advanced players, you play an F major as an A shape and a C shape.
Oh yeah, you can play it like that. Yeah, that's the C shape. You mean like that one?
That's a bar chord, isn't it?
Yeah, you can play that one.
And the A shape.
A shape, that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Okay. Yeah, lift up a little bit higher. Yeah, perfect.
So because of the level of different skills we got on this Facebook Live, Gary, can you have a think about before the end, what's an all-encompassing practice exercise that could maybe make use of all those types of shapes and maybe on the A string and the E string roots? While we're talking, you can have a little think.
Yeah.
Have a little think, definitely. And whilst you're having a little think there, Ronnie, do you want to have a quick give us a quick overview of the ranges of classes that you do online and how it works, how Guitar Weekends works?
Right. Okay. Well, I think the first thing I noticed somebody's comment there about what's Gary's practice course next week. So
that's what I popped that into the comments. Yeah.
Oh, did you? Right. So that one is quite key, because what we're discussing now is just scraping the top of an iceberg, and you're going to spend a full 90 minutes on this next week. So I'd encourage everybody to come along. So it's how to practice and how to get better. And we all do the same thing as hobbyists. We all practice for about 2 minutes doing that much on something, and then we'll flit to something. We're butterflies. We'll go from this to this to this to this, and we actually don't focus on anything. So if you want to learn bar chords, there must be a way, and Gary will probably explain it in that course, how you can look at bar chords. How can you get your picking better? How can you get better dexterity and maybe a bit of speed and accuracy with the left hand? A whole host of things. How would you work out, for example, what is a proper practice plan for you personally? Because I think I think you agree, Gary, everybody will have something different to work on. So they need a different plan to get from where they are to where they want to be.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think that's what that is. And then in amongst all of that, you've got this subject of like musicianship, which is, I think Jamie's covering ear training, which is really quite important next week. And then we've also got something that brings these things together, which is chords, bar chords, probably a little bit, and licks, mixing those two things together. And that's with Andy. And then after next week, we've got a whole host of other things coming along. So I would just check the website. That's the easiest way of doing it at the moment. If people have got specific questions, just fire me an email or put something on here now and I'll answer it.
Absolutely. Thanks, Ronnie. And just to come back to you, Gary, somebody is saying, Jim O'Neill is saying, flitting around, why switch to other shapes?
That's a good question.
Flitting around, why switch to other shapes?
Yeah, just stick an F major on the nut end of the guitar and that's your job done. You're a guitarist.
Yeah. Well, that's why the guitar's got all of these frets here. I know I didn't mean to be cheeky there, but it has a different sound, this F chord, you know. You can do that kind of thing with it, and then this one here is nice for doing, like that kind of sus chords and everything, which are not always possible with every shape, you know. Sometimes you can do with the E major, it's really difficult to do the sus2 in that position. So you might do it better here. You know, that kind of thing when you do sus chords. And they just sound different, you know.
Brilliant.
So, one more thing that I think is really important about learning the chords in every different area of the fretboard is that when you come to play solos and melodies, you can play the melodies in different positions, you know. So you might want to play that in the...
Yeah.
And get a different sound, you know.
You're showing off now.
That wasn't a really great. It wasn't a great example, but
you're showing off. But that's a really great answer, actually. Thank you. And then just some feedback from David. David Hunter says he has to share a few lessons that he's had with you, Gary. He tended to want to play the whole tune from bar 1 to the bar at the end, but Gary suggested he focus on the first chord and then move to the second and keep going back and forth. Then when he got 2 chords sorted, he added a 3rd chord and went back and forth, and it works. So since those lessons, he now focuses on very specific exercises. He would never have thought it would work, but it produced results.
Good.
What a lovely piece of feedback.
Thank you very much, David.
So I think that's a really good call to action there. If anybody hasn't booked on to Gary's session, I'm going to pop the link into the comments again, just while you want to wrap up, Ronnie.
Well, I'll go back to Gary. Gary.
Yeah, Gary, absolutely.
Is there a golden nugget of an exexercise that you think you will leave everybody with?
You mean the silver bullet of
the silver bullet?
Guitar. Yeah, 3 words: practice, practice, practice.
I knew you were going to say that. But it's too big a subject. We know that it's 20 minutes. We haven't got an awful lot of time with this. So I would encourage people to have a look at the course next week. And if you come on it, it's not ultra expensive. You'll get a lot of value from it, and you'll see what we're like.
Yeah. Oh, there is one little nugget of information.
You're always like this, Gary. You always throw it right to the end.
Okay, and it's this one: practice makes permanent. Yeah,
true.
Think about that, because if you practice it wrong, it'll be permanently wrong. Yeah.
But don't practice with a metronome. Is that right?
Yes, definitely practice with a metronome. Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. And if it slows down and speeds up, take it back to the shop.
I know it's that mechanical one. I think we're finished there.
Sorry, Natalie.
No, absolutely. That's been really, really fun listening to you play and listening to you both talk. I think everybody has got a lot of value from that. Certainly, we've had so many comments and hellos, and everyone's been really engaged with the session. So thank you for your time. Both of you, and thank you to everybody who's watched. 32 viewers have joined us this evening. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't yet visited Guitar Weekends online, then do check out our website. I'll post that again. We've got a newsletter and we're on Instagram, so head on over and give us a follow, and hopefully we can be on a session with you very soon. But thank you very much. Yes.
Sorry, I think Paul H has summarized all of this. He's just said, practice right.
Yeah. That's
thank you, Paul.
Exactly the same.
Absolutely. And loads of thank yous coming through now. Lots of thank yous and lots of inspiring, great sessions. So thank you very much for your time. And everybody who books on with Gary next week, enjoy.
Thanks everybody. Very much. Gary, thanks very much. And Natalie, thank you very much as well. See you, everybody. Hope you can make it sometime. See you now. Good night.
Bye.
Good night.